Hi, my name is Lemonnation from Cloud9, and this is my basic champion guide to Kennen. Alright, on Kennen I go Hybrid Pen Reds, Flat HP Yellows, Flat Ability Power Blues, and one Flat Ability Power Quint, and two Flat Armor Quints. On Kennen, my default mastery page is 0921, but since he is completely manaless, I don't get any of the mana things. I get full move speed, full fleet of foot. I get Scout, and then I get 1 point in Vampirism. Okay, level 1 you want Q, level 2 you want W, level 3 you usually want E, but sometimes you want a second point in W, and then level 4 you want whichever one you didn't get right there. And then from there you want to max W all the way first, and then E second. And the reason you're maxing W first is because it first off lowers the cooldown very effectively, but you are able to get it off with basically any of your abilities. Like if you're Qing them, you can W them right away. If you're getting your third auto attack with your passive, you can W them right away. When you're ulting them, the W is gonna hit everyone in your ult. So W is just the easiest thing to reliably hit, and the cooldown goes down dramatically as you're maxing it. So it's definitely what you want to max first. And the reason you max E second rather than Q is because it just gives you a lot of tankiness, mobility. It's just like more of like a support type skill than Q, which is more just straight damage, which you don't need outside of laning phase. You just want the E. Alright, so you start out Spell Thieves and full HP bots, minis you can buy, and a Warding Totem. And you basically want to leave just Spell Thieves like that the entire game. You're never going to upgrade it. The first thing you usually want to get is Sightstone. Situationally, you could get Moby Boots if you have like a very good play you can make early. Like say you go back, you have 800 gold, you see the top laner is like super overextended. Something like that is something you could go Moby Boots real quick, but usually you want Sightstone. Now for your choice of boots, you have two choices, either Moby Boots or CDR Boots. And I think it's a big trade-off. Moby Boots you want for the early roaming ability, and just it's better for getting around mid-game and things like that. CDR Boots is better for team fighting and better against like long, drawn-out team fights where there's a lot of tanks in the game. So I would say try to wait for Boots of Lucidity if you see like the enemy team has a ton of tanks and you just aren't going to be able to like burst them down, since it's going to help out more in that situation. Now past that, for your first big item, you have a few different choices. Righteous Glory is a very good choice, even though it gives mana, just because it allows you to initiate on the enemy team. Aegis is always a good item if you like someone on your team is going to want to get Aegis at some point. So getting that either as your first or second item if your jungler's not getting it is good. Rylai's is actually a good choice for Kennen, since it gives you a lot more CC and it's quite easy for you to apply it. And Zan is of course a good choice at some point for Kennen. So I would say that if you're the primary initiator and no one else on your team is getting Righteous Glory, I would prioritize that over any of these items. Secondary, I would probably prioritize Aegis if no one else is getting that on your team. And if neither of those are needed, then I would say Ryle is the best choice. As far as solo queue goes, Kennen is a solid pick in solo queue. He's nothing like amazing, but he's definitely someone who can carry the game. You primarily would want to pick him with Kalista. He synergizes extremely well with Kalista, and the lane, Kennen Kalista, is probably the most brutal lane in existence. So if you see a Kalista, that's definitely like the very best situation you can have for a Kennen. Past that, high poke AD carries, like maybe an Ezreal, a Lucian with his Qs, are also quite good with Kennen, just not nearly as good as Kalista is. For laning in Kennen, you want to basically just throw Qs at the AD carry or the support whenever it's up, try to get some rest that way. But your primary goal is charging up your W passive. It's every 5 attacks, Kennen gets bonus damage on his W and applies his proc of his stun thing. So you want to auto attack the creeps until you have that charged up, and then look to auto attack the AD carry specifically. Because whenever the support trades with the AD carry, you come out ahead, since the support has 4 pots, the AD carry only has 1. So you want to throw your W or throw your passive auto attack on him with that proc, and then W him immediately. And if you can get a Q as well, which would get a stun, that would be perfect. But even if you don't, just the auto attack W is going to be a good trade, and you want to keep doing that whenever you have it up. As far as team fights go, if you have Righteous, you want to throw that onto. You want to be near your team so it can hit as many people as possible, and then you basically E in and ult right away, and try to cast your W when your ult is on the maximum number of enemy players, because it's gonna, regardless of if you have your passive proc on them or not, the W is gonna get applied to them now. That's a recent change. So you just want to make sure your ult is hitting on as many people as possible than you W. And then basically from that point, you just want to get as many stuns off as possible. Kennen does have quite a bit of energy issues, so you want to make sure you're getting either stuns off or hitting them with your E. They're the only ways you can actually get energy back. Especially during laning phase, you'll be running out of energy quite a bit, and you always want to make sure that you have enough energy for your E to actually escape if gank ever happens. It costs 100 energy, which is half your pool. Thanks for watching this champion guide to Kennen. You can check out my other guides at lolclass.com.